really shouldn't say it, but I think I've got to say it. The far right in our country doesn't exist yet. The far left, the Looney Tune Brigade, however, is quite real. Real as real gets, as serious as cancer. Cancer, not good. But people forget that I'm a moderate. Charlie was a moderate as well. But the psycho left has been poking a sleeping bear with sticks, calling the bear names, stealing the bear's wallet, and have actually begun shooting the bear. But this isn't an ordinary bear, folks. No. No, it's not. This, of course, is what scholars refer to as a metaphor. So, if I were a miserable lefty who hated my dad and thought John Oliver was a real looker, I'd pause here and ask myself, do I want to keep poking this bear, or do I want my face to be ripped off in a horrific bear accident?
These videos are so weird because sometimes the voice don't be matching like his face. It's like a bootleg. Like I don't get it. I saw this earlier today, but one thing he said in the beginning, I'm gonna play it again.
I really shouldn't say it, but I think I've got to say it. The far right in our country doesn't exist yet. The far left, the Looney Tune Brigade, however, is quite real.
Donald Duck's calling them a Looney Tune Brigade, and all y'all are Looney Tune characters, man. You're literally Donald Duck. When you look up these characters and what they like to do and things like that, it matches them perfectly. As a matter of fact, let's look into that. Sounds silly, but characteristics of Donald Duck. Okay, Donald Duck is characterized by his short fuse and volatile temper, which often leads to comical rants and frustration when things go wrong. Physically, he is a white anthropomorphic duck who wears a sailor shirt, cap, and bow tie, but no trousers. Other traits include a stubborn commitment to his goals, an easily embarrassed nature regarding his distinctive voice, and a collection of famous catchphrases like, ooh, phooey. Oh, man. Oh. Anyways, let me start this lesson by giving all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashim, Yahweh Shai, Bahashim, Bakakwadash. Double honors to the apostles and elders at Great Millstone for teaching me this truth. It's your brother Rabbi Knapp coming out with a lesson, Lord's will, is edifying to the Lord's elect. But, he's saying he's not far right. We haven't seen far right. What is far right? As a matter of fact, we know what far right is, man. But I did see a video on X with Elon Musk. He explains it perfectly.
Defining what we're seeing in the media is defining things that used to be centrist to center left, such as a sensible immigration policy, as somehow far right, which is absurd and false. Because really far right should refer to...
It says the nigga who was putting his hands up like a fucking Nazi sign or whatever, man. So you gotta watch out. This is Daffy Duck here, man. This is what I mean by them being Looney Tune characters. And Esau likes to project a lot of the things he's saying. He knows that for sure. He knows this. You know? He knows he's a Looney Tune character, and he knows he's being created. Somebody's writing his role. I forgot what I read, but they go into their characteristics, but I can't really. Daffy Duck's personality is characterized by his greed. Come on, he's right. That's right on point. Selfishness, vanity, and an insatiable desire for fame. While he can be a zany, wild character, he is more often an anti-hero who uses his cunning and schemes to achieve glory at the expense of others. That's Elon Musk, man. Frequently clashing with Bugs Bunny. His famous catchphrase, You're despicable often signals his frustration when his selfish plans backfire or he is bested. Yeah, you can't. Bugs Bunny represents the elect, man. Bashing you over the head with a rod of iron.
To extremely fascist situations, like far right should refer to electing regimes that want to launch wars or genocide.
Or genocides. It looks like y'all doing both of those things. You launched a war, okay, with the Ukrainian thing that's going on. You're committing a genocide, so-called, where you know who? Amalek.
Genocides or something like that. That's what that far right is supposed to mean. Far right is not supposed to mean a sensible immigration policy. That literally, if you took speeches from politicians that would...
How is that a sensible immigration policy when the people that you are trying to get out of here are people who have been here forever? That's number one. Number two, none of y'all want to do the jobs that you replacing them with. And the way you're treating them is not like you did with those 475 Koreans that just got sent back to their country. See, they have a government that accept them and will fight for them to come back and for that so that they be treated right. But you sending what's his face all the way to the eastern part of Africa. I don't even know if you sent them there, but the fact that your whole game plan on how you're approaching it is the problem. No due process. You just say whatever the hell you want when it comes to them. But you didn't do that with these South Koreans in the Hyundai plant. You negotiated and you made sure they returned to where they came from. But when it comes to the so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, you want to send them to Guantanamo Bay or Central America on a terrorist unit, or put them in alligator Alcatraz, or ship them off to Eastern Africa.
Were center left and just go take their speeches from 10, 15 years ago, they were literally saying the same thing. So what we're seeing is really a drift left to hesitate to use the same modifier, but where a lot of the governments actually are far left, but think they are centrist, or think they are merely left or centrist, but they're actually far left compared to what the left was even 10 or 15 years ago. You can take speeches that Obama or Hillary Clinton gave about immigration, and they sound identical to, and that's just as of 10, 15 years ago, not that long ago. So I think what we've seen is a redefinition of what is right and left, but an inaccurate redefinition. And frankly, it's just propaganda, because people are generally have the association that, well, anything far right must be bad, so then we're going to just label things that are common sense far right, which is absurd.
And I do agree with him on that propaganda, man. That's all it is. Because the left, they're out of their fucking mind, and the right's out of their damn mind, man. Elder Gad in San Fran said just a bunch of homos on one side versus a bunch of racists on the other side. That's what you choose which one you want to be, man. And that's the world we live in. It's backwards. It's upside down. Something else he said in that video was they're redefining things. This far left ideology. Because first of all, what you consider to be in the middle is far left anyways. They're both far left. Both Republican and Democrats, they're both far left, because the standard is what the Bible is, okay? Because you supposedly established America on Christian, I think they call it Christian Judeo principles. Let's see. Was America established on Christian Judeo principles? The establishment of the United States was significantly influenced by Judeo-Christian morality and ideas. False. Though the founders did not intend to create a Christian theocracy, and the Constitution does not mention religion, founding documents like the Declaration of Independence reference universal human rights and equality, reflecting these shared cultural and ethical principles rather than a purely religious foundation. Hold on. Universal human rights and equality? does the Bible reflect universal human rights and equality? Let me think about that. Now, when it comes to equality, there's a hierarchy. Okay, Israel's supposed to be at the top, so there's nobody's equal to Israel, man. They got all the power. So no, but the human rights aspects of it, as long as you are living according to the laws that are put down, then hey, first of all, these laws are gonna bless you too. You're gonna be like when you look at the laws, you're gonna benefit from that. So in a form where if you follow the laws, when the righteous are in authority, the people shall rejoice. In that aspect, you're gonna be good. Okay, if you call that human rights, I think that's just being obedient to the Lord. Okay, and that's your right to be obedient to the Lord. This devil won't allow that to happen. Okay, but once he gets destroyed and Yasharal is in power, Yahweh Shai, first and foremost, okay, then these things can start, the world can start to flourish. While many founders were deeply religious and influenced by their faith, the historical record shows a commitment to a republic hospitable to various faiths, enshrined in the First Amendment's prohibition against a national religion. So, various faiths, that's against the Bible too. Long story short, what I'm trying to say is that they are they break every law in this book. I mean, if people actually looked at the laws, you would see they break every law. I mean, you can start with the land Sabbath. They don't keep the land Sabbath. Okay, as a matter of fact, let's go. Let's see what the land Sabbath is. Since I brought it up. Leviticus 25. Matter of fact, let's get this in a blue letter so I can get a title. This is just one of them. You know, they don't. Leviticus 20. Let's go there first. This is Sodom and Egypt. Leviticus 20 and 13. If a man also lie with mankind as he lieth with a woman, both of them have committed an abomination. They shall surely be put to death. Their blood shall be upon them. These are laws that are not being implemented. As a matter of fact, the opposite is happening. Okay, they're being exalted. Okay, so this is just one law in the Bible that's not being implemented in this country. Okay, and there's no plans of doing anything with Sodomites. Okay. Leviticus, or homosexuals. Leviticus 25 and 4. But in the 7th year shall be a Sabbath of rest unto the land, a Sabbath for the Lord Yahweh. Thou shalt neither sow thy field nor prune thy vineyard. So 6 years, you sow, you reap. 7 years, 7th year, is rest. It's the Sabbath, man. And what that does is it allows the ground to replenish itself. Hence, bringing forth more the following year. He breaks that. That's 2, and it's all of them. Thou shalt not murder. He murders the most. You know, you go to Exodus the 20th chapter. Thou shalt not have any other gods. He worships all other gods. Okay, Exodus 20, and he don't keep the Sabbath day. He tells you the Sabbath day is either Saturday or Sunday, not according to the moon. That's going off. Okay. And then he creates a system where you can't keep the Sabbath anyway because you're always occupied in bill after bill after bill. There's no Jubilee year where he just gets rid of all your debt. You know, none of this is being applied. If these things were being applied, some of the things that people are mourning for, you're ultimately mourning for righteousness. You're mourning for the laws, statutes, and commandments to be implemented down here on the earth. And the reason why that's not happening is because the devil's in power. I might as well grab the precept. Thou shalt not commit adultery. And that, look at how many people, look at let me see the marriage rating, the marriage divorce. What is the divorce rate in America?
According to modern family law, as of 2024, the U.S. divorce rate remains between 40% to 50% for first marriages, though this number has been steadily declining over the past few decades. In fact, according to the CDC, the divorce rate in 2021 was 2.5 divorces per 1,000 people, significantly down from earlier years.
Okay, so 40 to 50% for first marriages, man. You got a 50% chance of being divorced your first time being married, man. Pathetic. And what do? They divorce, gives half the shit to your wife. Like, no, she's not supposed to get shit, man. Okay, she's the possession. Okay. So these laws are not being implemented. A woman is a possession. Ecclesiasticus 36:24. He that getteth a wife beginneth a possession, a help like unto himself, and a pillow of rest. So if you lose your wife, it's like you lost something that belongs to you. Now, scriptures say you can give her a bill of divorce, okay, but it doesn't say give her half of your shit. Where is that in the Bible? That's not being implemented in the scriptures, man. Okay, a lot of men are mourning over this, and women are weaponized against you. And why would they want to be with you if they can just leave your ass, take half your shit, and move on with somebody else? Deuteronomy 25:1. If there be a controversy between men and they come unto judgment, that the judges may judge them, then they shall justify the righteous and condemn the wicked. And it shall be, if the wicked man be worthy to be beaten, that the judge shall cause him to lie down and to be beaten before his face according to his fault by a certain number. Now, that's what I'm looking for. I think it's here, though. Let me keep going. According to his fault by a certain number, 40 stripes he may give him, and not exceed, lest if he should exceed and beat him above these with many stripes, then thy brother should seem vile unto thee. So that's if he causes something that causes him to get flogged, you can't just beat him to death, man. There's 40 save one, man. Okay, 40 stripes he may give him. And Esau probably was doing way more than that. He was whipping you till you pretty much died, man. There's pictures of Jake's back just ripped up. That's vile. That's Esau. And this was back then. So why wasn't he implementing this law? It tells you in the book of Revelation, 22. It says, Revelation 22:18, for I testify unto every man that heareth the words of the prophecy of this book. If any man shall add unto these things, God shall add unto him the plagues that are written in this book. And if any man shall take away from the words of the book of this prophecy, God shall take away his part out of the book of life and out of the holy city and from the things which are written in this book. So didn't he have a slave Bible? What is the slave Bible? What books were the slaves allowed to read during slavery? Not what books. What books in the Bible slaves were primarily given a heavily redacted or shortened version of the Bible known as the Slave Bible, which omitted most of the Old Testament and about half of the New Testament. The purpose was to remove passages that could incite rebellion, such as the Exodus history, of course. He don't want you thinking about exiting Egypt. You put two and two together. Hold on, we in Egypt. We in bondage right now. We're in slavery again. Deuteronomy 28, verse 68, man. He probably, none of those things, man. And to emphasize verses promoting obedience and accepting their place in the social hierarchy. And that's the doctrine that you Christians have today. A doctrine that keeps you like a good Samaritan. Okay, because you really don't understand the Bible, so you'll never come to the conclusion that he's the devil. Because according to your doctrine, you're supposed to love everybody like a damn dummy. When the Most High is a balanced power. That's why, it's difficult to come up out of that mess, man. You hear it so much, it's everywhere. It's a spirit that just follows you everywhere you go. You might get the truth and then lose it because you ran into another damn Christian. And he won't make you soft and weak like a woman because you've been raised by your mother, especially if you were Jake, man. Women like to be comfortable. They don't really want to suffer. And this is why we tell you got to get out of that mindset. Because all of it was designed by Esau to put you in this perpetual state of serving him. And those days are over. Okay? You still celebrating these stupid ass holidays. None of them reflect. You celebrating your own destruction. Key features of the Slave Bible redaction: a significant portion of the traditional Bible was removed, with around 90% of the Old Testament and 50% of the New Testament missing. It doesn't even say anything about the Apocrypha. Okay? A mission of rebellion inciting stories like the exodus of the Israelites from slavery under Moses were intentionally left out to prevent enslaved people from finding hope or justification for their own freedom. Focus on obedience. Passages emphasizing obedience to masters and accepting one's authority were retained and highlighted, such as Ephesians 6 and 5. Let's go there. Y'all recite the same shit. Now the new precept now is John 3:16. Y'all those same spirits. Ephesians 6 and 5. Servants, be obedient to them that are your masters according to the flesh, with fear and trembling and singleness of your heart, as unto Christ. And y'all said, oh, God is true and true is God. Know what y'all be saying? God is love and love is God. Something, I forgot what y'all Christians be saying. Let's look it up. Ephesians 6 and 5 commands bondservants, obey your earthly masters with fear and trembling, with a sincere heart, as you would Christ. This verse instructs slaves or servants to obey their human masters faithfully, not just to please them, but as if they were serving Yahweh Shah Mashiach himself, doing the will of God from their heart. Let's go into this interlinear. Your masters, Kyrios. He to whom a person or thing belongs, about which he has power of deciding, master, lord, the possessor and disposer of a thing, the owner, one who has control of the person, the master, in the state, the sovereign, prince, chief, the Roman emperor, is a title of honor expressive of respect and reverence with which servants greet their master. This title is given to God the Messiah. Let me look this up in chat. Let's see what it says. Ephesians 6, verse 5, meaning. In Paul's time, this referred to bondservants or slaves. In application today, it relates to employees, workers, or anyone under authority. So Paul's saying this to Israelites in Ephesus. Okay, be obedient to them that are your masters according to the flesh. Paul clarifies that these are earthly masters, human authority, not the ultimate master, Hamashiach. This obedience is practical, relating to work and duties in the world. With fear and trembling, this phrase doesn't mean terror, but reverent respect, a seriousness about one's responsibilities. It reflects diligence and sincerity, not laziness or rebellion. In singleness of your heart, serve honestly with undivided loyalty, not with deceit or double motives, as unto Hamashiach. The key point, obedience to earthly authority should be done with the mindset that you are really serving Christ, even when masters are unjust. The believer's higher loyalty is to God. I don't know why this shit just keeps stopping and going all the time. Let me see if I can find a video. Ephesians 6, verse 5, GMS. Who's this?
Alright, Shalom. First, I want to give all praises to you. Be obedient to them that are your masters according to the flesh, with fear and trembling, in singleness of your heart, as unto Mashiach, who's talking about Yahushua, man. So that's talking about our apostles and elders in this truth, okay? The men that have come before us and have laid the foundation, and they put the labor in for the fruit to come in, man.
Perfect. That's exactly what it means. But Esau flipped that on you and have you believing that it's talking about him. Okay. Now it tells you in Romans the 13th chapter, Paul does reiterate being not coming up against your government, but every scripture's in context. Be subject to government, but respect those who are who got this wisdom, knowledge, and understanding. Okay, they're set up by the Most High. Romans 13:1, let every soul be subject unto the higher powers, for there is no power but of God. The powers that are ordained of God. So the Lord set up Esau in power, and you got to respect it. Whosoever therefore resisteth the power resisteth the ordinance of God, and they that resist shall receive to themselves damnation. So let's look at this word resisted. You ain't supposed to resist it. Anti-tasso. Okay, to range in battle against, to oppose oneself, resist. Yeah, you don't want to range in battle against the government. Okay, we just need to repent. For rulers are not a terror to good works, but to the evil. Will thou then not be afraid of the power? Do that which is good, and thou shalt have praise of the same. For he is the minister of God to thee for good, but if thou do that which is evil, be afraid, for he beareth not the sword in vain. For he is the minister of God, a revenger to execute wrath upon him that doeth evil. So the Lord set him up, and you got to respect you got to just repent like he told you to do. So if you got a misinterpretation of a scripture, this is the time to be looking these things up. This is what the internet's for. It tells you in the book of Malachi, the 3rd chapter, that I never met that brother before. He's just doing the work. Lord put the spirit on him to make this video, make that video, just to explain certain precepts. And we got a whole, that's drinking out of your own cistern. You don't know, you have an inkling of what it means. And sometimes you forget things, but you can, right now, you have the ability to go back and find these things out. Malachi 3:16, then they that fear the Lord Yahweh spake often one to another, and the Lord hearkened and heard it, and a book of remembrance was written before him for them that fear the Lord, and that thought upon his name. And they shall be mine, saith the Lord of hosts, in that day when I make up my jewels, and I will spare them as a man spareth his own son that serveth him. Then shall ye return and discern between the righteous and the wicked, between him that serveth the Most High and him that serveth him not. But the point was that they spake often to one another. And we do that through these scriptures, man. I mean, through these digital epistles. We don't have to be physically going place to place to receive this word. This is what the internet's for. This is how they spake often one to another. I didn't have to call him and ask him what this meant in Ephesians 6:5. Through the Spirit, I just filled my cup up. Sometimes you want to verify it, but sometimes, these other outlets don't have the answer, man. They don't got it all the time. GMS UK Truth. What's this? What else is going on in this world, man? Let me see this.
Wix, one platform.
Nothing but craziness out here, man. It says Operation Summer Heat has been years in the making at El Dorado County. They don't give too much detail. I'm thinking that's like in Nevada or something.
Operation Summer Heat has been years in the making here in El Dorado County. And, nearly 100 personnel from South Lake Tahoe Police to the FBI to the El Dorado County Sheriff's Office and other agencies have all worked together on this operation. And now the District Attorney's Office is handling the prosecution of 17 alleged cartel-related gang members that were arrested yesterday.
Our intention is to hold them responsible to the fullest extent that we can under the laws of the state of California.
Just yesterday, law enforcement, including the FBI, El Dorado County Sheriff's Office, South Lake Tahoe Police, and others, executed 21 arrest warrants across El Dorado and Alpine counties in California, and several...
FBI Sacramento Field Office, El Dorado. Let me just look up where El Dorado is. Where is El Dorado?
Where is El Dorado around Chelsea? Here you go.
USA. Arkansas. It's in a couple of places. Texas communities. Or El Dorado in California. Clearly that's talking about El Dorado in California.
Counties in Nevada as part of Operation Summer Heat.
This whole operation centers around gangs, guns, hardcore drugs, and the risks that they pose to the community.
The multi-agency investigation targeted cartel-supplied gangs operating in the Tahoe region.
A little over a year ago
Damn, bro, they were strapped up. Yeah, it's gonna be crazy as hell out here. They got full body armor. And who knows what Esau sold to these dudes on the black market, man. They probably got grenades, grenade launchers, rockets, missiles, tanks, Toyota Tacomas with 50 cal machine guns with the seat in the bed. Crazy shit, man.
operating in the Tahoe region.
A little over a year ago, had 4 people die from fentanyl poisoning up in South Lake Tahoe at a Super Bowl party.
District Attorney Vern Pearson will prosecute the individuals arrested, with several still located out of state.
Total at this point of 17 in custody, some here in California, some in the state of Nevada, which will be extradited back.
Sid Patel, special agent in charge at the Sacramento FBI field office, says the individuals arrested played a variety of roles for dangerous cartels.
You have the leaders there, you have the individuals that are pursuing some of these activities, whether it be the violent crimes, the gun trafficking, whether it be drugs.
Among those charged, Norrentino gang leaders accused of trafficking cocaine, meth, and fentanyl, while allegedly recruiting local middle and high school students and exploiting male recruits to gain access to underage girls.
Once you're sucked in, it's hard to get out of that environment. So we want to be able to take this head on. We want to be able to make the parents and the schools and our communities aware of this particular threat.
Esau's a fucking devil, man. Don't think Esau's not in the midst of this bullshit, man. He allows these motherfuckers to come into this place, and he benefits off of their labors. He's not gonna allow them in here, and he got something he can blame it on. But at the same time, he's the one who set it all up. This dude's full of shit.
This concern and be able to dismantle all of it.
The arrested suspects now face a range of related charges, including possession of fentanyl for sale and illegal sale of firearms. And moving forward, DA Pearson had one final message for any cartel or gang members still out there.
If you traffic firearms, if you traffic hardcore drugs, stay out of El Dorado County.
Now, 4 additional arrest warrants are still outstanding as part of this operation. And DA Pearson, he said he will continue to hold cartel and gang members and criminals accountable to the fullest extent of the law. Live in El Dorado County, covering local news that matters, Snow Anderson, Fox 40 News.
Craziness, man. Absolute craziness. And this is why we got to come back to the Lord, man. This is all about to come to a climax, man. All these situations, all these different gangs. Let me grab this in the book of Job, probably end it. Wicked. Job chapter 20. The precept. Where for the liquor lived? How often is? I can't find it. Yeah, I can't find it, man. He basically says that, I can't even roughly paraphrase it. It's in the book of Job, though. I thought it was in Job 20. I don't see it. Job 20. Yeah, it is. In the fullness of his sufficiency, he shall be in straits. Every hand of the wicked shall come upon him. And that's talking about the 2/3. I just want to look up that word, Amel.
Strong's H 6001. A male. A male.
This is the laborer, the workman, the sufferer, the wretched one. Okay, and a lot of them are gonna be part of this gang shit, man. So Esau's gonna have a lot on their hands, man. These cartels ain't nothing they look like they're militant, man. You know, so it's gonna be, and Esau's militant. All these different gangs are militant, man. These YN, they all militant, man. So we need the Lord, man. I'm gonna end it right here. Lord's will. This was edifying. Shalom.